Good morning, Breakfast Club family. This is Mark Stevens for your host, Joe Shoup. Hope everybody had a great day yesterday. Top of the morning to you. Got some exciting things today. We'll talk about some onboarding, part 2. You need to take some notes and get on board and let's get this thing done. A lot of exciting things happening. I think what I'll do is either wait till Friday or even maybe Monday to go down a little rabbit hole, because I gotta talk to you about this because our presentation, business presentation, AdTech Worldwide Business Presentation, is becoming more pertinent and important almost every day of the week because of what's going on, and not just in the country but in the world, and where people are in their life and they need help. And all they got to do is look at our business presentation. They will see themselves. They will also see the answer to solving their dilemma, because I'm going to tell you, they're in a dilemma in a lot of ways. Millenniums are in a dilemma in a lot of ways. Baby boomers are really in a dilemma in a lot of ways, and they're 70% of the economy. And the thing is that people are going to and fro, and they don't know what to do. You can't believe everything that you hear on the news or see on the TV because it's slanted. And they just don't know what to do. But what they really need to do, and the only way that can happen, is we have to let them know that we have a solution to their challenges. They need to see our business presentation. So with that being said, I'm going to get off my soapbox. And Joe, good morning to you. How you doing, and what you got for us this morning?
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I am fantastic and amazing. I'm excited because we have something that can solve the dilemmas that are going out in our economy and our cities, states, and country and the world. And I feel blessed that we have it, and now we just got to go to work and use it. And I'm quite sure you can help us with that.
Well, I wanted to read something, Mark, and I want to see if anybody knows who said this. I happen to watch this show every day, and some of you will probably cringe. Others will say, yes, I do too. But I watch this show pretty much every day to get up to speed with political stuff. And I didn't used to do that until the same guy I mentioned that way back in my career that Bob Safford brought. He met him on a plane, and then he brought him to our convention. It was an author, and one of the things he said to do was keep up with political information, keep up with world information is what he said. He said, I read every morning for 30 minutes, and I just want to get abreast of what's going on in the world. So since that time, many years ago, that's kind of what I do. Certainly it's depends on what view you have, who you believe, but I happen to watch this show every day, so there you go. But I want to read this. It's very, very interesting. It has to do with your career. Has to do with where you've been, where you're going, your belief system, so to speak, and, things can change. And that's what's important, and you never know. So listen to this. Very recent event that all of you are probably aware of, but this is what this fellow said. See if you know who said this. I'll give you a hint. It's the tip of the day. This thing ends with the tip of the day. And here's what it says. Life takes dramatic turns very quickly. The Patriots thought they'd lost the game. It's almost impossible that the Seahawks would not score the touchdown from the 1-yard line with Marshawn Lynch, but the Seahawks made a mistake, and the Pats won. In your life, if you think you've lost, think about the New England Patriots. As Yogi Berra once said, it ain't over till it's over. Life can turn fast. Who do you think said that? We'll let people chime in and chat a little bit and see they think who said that. I gave you a hint. You would never know just by me reading it by the tip of the day, if you're familiar with this particular show. Well, the truth is life can change dramatically. And I remember one particular company that my life changed overnight, within 30 days, going from making zero with that company to 30, 40,000 a month. Dramatic change. No one ever dreamed that could happen that fast and turn around like that. So anybody got any ideas who said that? And as a matter of fact, the first network marketing teacher in our industry to teach at a college level a network marketing course was on this guy's show. It happened many, many years ago. But anyway, since nobody's responding to it, nobody knows. It was Bill O'Reilly. And that's what he, at the end of his particular show each day, he gives a tip of the day. And, of course, they talked about that, about how it was over. I mean, there's no question in everybody's mind. In fact, very rarely does this happen, but right after that game, my phone rang. The minute that happened, my phone rang. Guess who it was? Anybody want to guess that one? It rang. I mean, it rang the minute that interception happened. My phone rang, I picked up, and our conversation began. And we don't usually do that. Anyway, it was Mark. Called me right away and said, "Can you believe that?" I said, "No, I still can't believe it today." The point is that wherever you are, wherever you want to be, there is that little missing gap. We talked about this. There's an empty space there that has to be filled, and it has to be filled with education, because it all starts with education, not the learning of facts, right? Anyway, it's what happens up in your mind and what you decide you're going to do. And it's important that you know this stuff. You're in business, you want to succeed, and when you learn what to do, it's important that you know how to transfer that information. And it doesn't have to be that you're the teacher. You just have to bring them to the right place. So that's what onboarding is about. It means bringing your new person to a place where they can learn how to get on board. So that being said, I want to say a couple of things. I've got a couple of emails yesterday, and two of the pertinent ones, I guess pertinent to them, sent me information. They've heard about something, and one person sent me something and said, "I just heard about this onboarding. Would you send me all the information?" and signed it, their first name. I have no clue who that person is. They might be on the call today. I don't really even know. They're not a member of the Breakfast Club. They're not in my email contact list. So I have no idea who it is. I don't know what people think I'm supposed to write when that happens, and take time out to write that and say, okay, well, here's what onboarding is here, and type all this stuff out. Or send paperwork. I don't even know the person's name, phone number. I'd have to obviously check the properties or check and see what the email. I don't even know who it is. Here's my point. We've lost something, Mark, in our communication skills on writing. I get emails. They don't even say "Dear Joe" or "Hi Joe," or I think that one did, but I get emails now that just have one line on it. No signature, no addressing. The world has changed, Mark, from addressing, sending a letter to somebody. You wouldn't think of sending me a letter in the old days to say Joe or "Dear Joe," hey, your friend Mark, or even Mark. I know that it's different being on the internet, but why is that? I get so many emails like that. I am not responding to those things anymore. Mark even made it clear yesterday and said, if you want information from Joe or us, send it to the New Breakfast Club at earthlink.net or jpshoop at earthlink.net. Put your name on the first line, your email on the second line, your phone number on the third line, and the fourth line, what are you requesting? Now, had I gotten that from those people, or every day, I just ignore those. I just want you to know that. I don't have time to sit and type out the stuff we just went over on the Breakfast Club about onboarding. So I don't think people realize, I think they've fallen into a trap, Mark, of thinking that you just send a note over and don't sign it. Don't say who you are. I mean, tell me you're in the company, but you don't tell me who you really are. Not even in my contact list. We've lost something in communication here with sending notes to people and introducing themselves and, a phone number. I would have picked up the phone yesterday and called that person had they had their phone number there and said, "Hi, it's Joe. I got your note, but listen, I can't really send all this information and type all this out. I don't have time for that. But how about if I tell you within 2 minutes? I can tell you what this is doing and how to get that, and come to the Breakfast Club and send me a note so you can get on the contact list." That would have been easy to do, but I didn't even have a phone number. So I deleted the email. I don't even know what it is now, but a bunch of those come in all the time. And if I don't respond to you, that's the reason I don't, is because you haven't put your phone number on there and you haven't identified yourself. So, but if you're listening today and you sent me those notes, there's the story. That's why I didn't respond. I have no way of responding. I don't know who you are. And I would gladly pick up the phone and call you. So we'd have that and start a relationship or a communication and connection between us. So I encourage everybody, if you write to me, I suggest you write everybody this way, is when you send somebody a note, on the bottom, put your phone number if they don't know you. In fact, put it anyway. Have a signature at the bottom that identifies yourself and a phone number. If I wanted to call you, I can't even do it. And if I know you and you don't do it, I get that from people I know on my contact list. Send me a note and just sign their name on the bottom. And sometimes I go, I got to give them a call. You know what I have to do? Go into my contacts, go look around, maybe go into my phone, see if I know their number. It takes me a couple of minutes to go do that. 10 times a day costs me 20, 30 minutes. So please, start to go back to the common courtesy of telling people who you are and giving them a phone number and a way to communicate. Anyway, I wanted to say that, Mark. I don't know if you want to comment on that, but we've lost the touch with that, with communicating on paper anymore.
Well, it's like people want what they want, how they want it, when they want it. They don't consider anything else. That's not a good way of doing business. It's not good business etiquette, number one. And then, we make it clear that, like you just said, we make it clear if you want something, this is what you need to do. We'll be happy to provide it, but this is what we need from you. You can't expect everything from somebody else, and you don't do what's required. There's something on both ends. So it is what it is. And then again, like you said, Joe, who has time to do that? You don't have time to do that.
Right.
There are more important things to be done than to try to figure out somebody's email when you've asked them how to send it, what to put in it, and that you will get right to it. But if you don't do that, then you shouldn't expect the other. So that's my comment on it.
Good. All right. Let's go to critical steps to onboarding. Onboarding is the process of getting your new person started in the business and properly. Now, some people will disagree with and agree with what it is you need to do first and so on. So I guess it depends on what you're teaching people, but this is what we believe is true and how a new person should start. And the first thing, it starts. Yesterday, Mark said the same thing. What would you do with somebody? His first answer was I'd educate them. I'd make sure they understood a lot of things, a number of things, a couple of things. So the first part of education is educating yourself so you know what to do here. So educate yourself about what? Well, Couple of things. One, the company itself. You certainly should know, if you're with Karatbars, you should be knowing what Karatbars is, at least know what it's about. How do you do that? Well, there are plenty of videos out there, and I'll take you to step 2 so you know where to get the information about all that. What is it that you do? That's what it is that you have to really understand. What is it that you do? Educate yourself on what you do. How? Well, you need to know what marketing is, number one. You need to know that that's what you do to get your information in front of people. And how do you do that? We use Tools Rock. That's what we use. That's what the company is called. It's a marketing tool. And when you have that process, that's the first thing Mark said the other day. That's what I do. I make sure they understand that we're going to get them some education. So they join Tools Rock for a few bucks, and they get at least 30 days of education there right in front of them by going to the training room and starting from scratch. And that first part is about Karatbars, understanding what to do to get yourself started in Karatbars, the registration, to get your KYCs done, and so on. And there are videos right there teaching you about that and the compensation plan. So to sit on a phone with a person on your in your onboarding process and sit there for 30 minutes and talk to them about the compensation plan is a waste of time. Why? Because the education room has a video on compensation. In fact, there has to be at least 10 videos out there made by various people explaining the comp plan. Choose the one you want. We do it simply by telling them, get your Tools Rock marketing tool in place and go to the training room and start. So they learn how to get started with Karatbars and learn how to market their business. In other words, announce their business. So we teach people to announce your business right away. Day one, very first thing after you get into that system is to start telling everybody you know that you've just opened your business. How do you do it? We have a website that does that. It's called Friends and Family. And so the first thing, here's the first, let's think about this. They can't do anything else. They don't have their KYCs done, so they can't really buy a package yet. But what do we want them to do? We've just spent probably a week sending a notice, sending a piece of information to see if we had an interested party. We've found an interested party. We spoke with them. We brought them to a director who then communicated with them and guided them and directed them to registration. You brought them to registration. You told them how to do it. They have an ID number. Can't buy a package. Don't have the KYCs done. Get that done. So why would you waste 3 or 4 days waiting for them to buy a package and tell you they'll see you then and send them to a webinar and go over to this one? First thing you want to do is get them into action. If you took a new job at IBM or any company, part-time or full-time, you don't walk in the door, sit down and get a manual and sit in the back room and study it for a week. They put you out on the floor and they start having you observe other workers, or you already know what to do. Maybe you're totally familiar with the job. You don't sit there and do nothing. You get into action right away. So our way to get you into action right away is that within 5 minutes you can have the Tools Rock marketing system. Now, if you choose another system, fine. But we have that because the education room guides them step by step all the way through without you sitting there for 20 minutes just telling them about compensation. So you put them into that and say, hey, go into the training room, download the manual, number one, get the checklist out, follow the pattern to get yourself set up here, and get down to that marketing system because we're going to work a little bit later today. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in a little bit. You know what? Listen to this now. The 5 steps. I'll bet you if I ask Max right now to type in a chat the 5 steps to a communication, to a phone call, I bet he could type it in faster than almost anybody. So do it anyway. What do you got to do when you make a phone call? Introduction, reason you called, what do you want them to do, set an appointment and tie it down. Same thing when you're talking to your new affiliate. You tell them you're going to meet with them later after they've gone over the affiliate handbook and get this, your things set up, your marketing system. You call them back. You set an appointment with them. It's the day that you're working. Part of your schedule that day is to help a new person. So you have time. You don't just say, call me when you feel like it. Look, Frank, here's the deal. I'm busy today. I have a slot open at 4 o'clock, or would 4:15 be better? We need to go over things that I wanted you to get accomplished today. He says 4:15. Great. I'm going to write it down. Can you pencil that in? And by the way, as you know, from our experiences, my time is valuable. I'm sure yours is also. If anything major comes up, Frank, and you can't make it at 4:15, will you give me the courtesy of a return call? Yes, and I'll do the same for you. Great. You got my number. So I'll call you back at 4:15. We can go over all this stuff. So that's how you continue to deal with your people when you're boarding them. So now that they know what to do and they go in, your marketing system has to be set up, and the first thing you have to do is announce your business. Announce it. And that means that everybody you know, there goes Max right in there. Reason I called, introduction, reason I called, what I want you to do, schedule an appointment, tie it down. There you go. You know, you got to announce to everybody you know that you're in business. So that's what you guide them to do. Get ready, make a list of all the people, and if they say, oh, I've already talked to people, we're not trying to sell to them. This is part of the process to get your marketing system set up, is to tell everybody you know you're in business. I don't care who it is. You know, if they're network marketing people, then maybe even send it to them. But especially friends, family, acquaintances know what you're doing. How many of you go to a party and people say, hey, what is it that you do? Or how's your business going? Or whatever. They don't even know what you're doing. Because you're in one of those things, by the way, those pyramid things. Send them a legitimate piece of information so when you do talk to them, you have something legitimate to talk about. And you should follow up with them. Give them a call and say, hey, I sent this over to you. I sent it over to you, and I want to make sure that you have it, letting you know that, you know, I actually, you know, with this company now, and hey, you know what, if you ever need me, I just want you to take a look. It's pretty important stuff that I'm doing right now. Got to go anyway, but just take a look at it, and, you know, we can talk about it later. Just wanted you to know what I was doing. That's it. I can't tell you how many people don't do that, because they think that their friends are going to run away. They are. If you start trying to recruit them and trying to convince them that they should be working with you, that's not what that's for. It's just to announce it, like a flyer out there the month before you open or when you open your shoe store. And, of course, the next part of that marketing is finding the interested parties who want to manage a business from home, someone who wants to partner up or become an affiliate. But the first step that day is to get everybody to know. Get yourself in place. Get your marketing system in place. So that first day, after registration, both with Carrot Bars and TSR, Tools Rock, you add your contacts. You announce to them, get it out right away because your marketing tool is set up. That's within 24 hours. That's already going out there. And where do you get them? In your own database. That's what you do. That's all. It's just the people you know. Now, if that first day you've got that accomplished and you decide, I'm going to use the second website, which is our business presentation, to find a partner, then you need somebody to send it to. You might have your own database. You might purchase leads or harvest them. You farm them or harvest them. So that's part of the process. That should happen, Mark, within 24 hours. There's your 24-hour. Why? Because You don't even have a recruit till your recruit has one. And you've got to get them to announce and to go send information and find the interested party by presenting your information to people. So that's step one. That's day one. That's what should take place. I don't know if anybody has any questions before we go on to the first week, but that's day one. That's how you get somebody on board. Now, let me go back one step, or one part of that first step. And that is that once a person is registered, you should be introducing them to a minimum of 3 people, including the director or the person who did that 3-way, to let them know that they are registered and welcome them to the company as the person who you call. If someone called me and said, Joe, Bob's now with the company, and maybe I did the 3-way. I just thought maybe you'd want to welcome Bob. Bob, congratulations. Welcome to the company. As we talked about on our call earlier, you know, we have all the support that you need. As you answered with me, with a lot of support, you can see yourself being successful. John here is going to help you and guide you to the rest of the day and show you what to do. And I just want to welcome you and have a great day. And that's the end of that conversation. I'm not back into explaining or finding out anything further. It's not a time for that. And then John should pick up the phone and introduce Bob to whoever, to a couple of other people. And it doesn't even have to be an upline or downline. It just has to be some people who are connected here, people here on the Breakfast Club, people in the chat room, and just teach them that you're going to call them and just tell them what to say if they're not familiar with it, to say, look, just welcome them to the company. Don't go overemphasizing things or trying to, trying to tell them how wonderful life is here at Carrot Bars. Just tell them that there's a process, follow the process here, and everything will be fine. Welcome to the company, and do that a couple of times, couple of different people, so they know they're not alone and they have access to other people. Guide them to the chat room, guide them to the Breakfast Club. Big part of onboarding is introductions. It makes sure they know they're not alone. Okay, so that first week, what do they need to accomplish? First of all, by going to the training room, they should have downloaded or copied or printed out the checklist. They have to do that. So, the first thing is that we tell them, Mark, as you know, is we want them in that communication class. We want them in there. Why? Well, because most people have been wrongly taught how to handle their prospects. And that communication class will help them, guide them. If somebody wants to chat in that have been to the class and say how important it is, we'll give you somebody else's perspective instead of ours. You've been to the class, put a little synopsis in there in the chat, we'll read it. So that's the first thing we want them to do. We want them to get in the communication class. Get over to the Breakfast Club. There may be, let's say this is 11 and 12, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you've just brought that person in. Let's just say that were true. What if you guided them to one of your favorite breakfast clubs in the morning? Maybe there was something you'd want them to hear for 20, 30 minutes. Mark does a great job explaining things in 20 or 30 minutes. Might want to pick one of those out, send them to YouTube and to Mark's channel, pick out a good breakfast club that you'd like them to hear. Because it's 2 in the afternoon, they can't get there till tomorrow morning. Maybe you want them to do that, or maybe you just want them to wait till tomorrow. Either way, it's an option. It's recorded. It's there. So that first week, you get into the class. You start going to the breakfast clubs or recorded ones. You learn dialogue. If you've gotten into that class, then you learn some dialogue. What kind of dialogue? Well, how to make that phone call when you're A, either calling your friend, or B, calling someone back who's responded to one of your ads. That first week, you stay in touch all week long with that new prospect. That's your job. They stay in touch with you. and teach them who they are in that process. What does that mean? It means that you have a role to play. You are not a business owner yet. You don't really have a business. You have no profits. You're not even set up yet. So you don't really have a business. So who are you? You're not a business owner yet. You're a director or manager in training. You're going to go through a management training program here. And that's who you are. So when you're making a phone call, if you're afraid to pick up the phone when you got a lead, it's because you don't know who you are. And that first week, they need to learn who they are. How do they do that? They get in the class. They come out of that class, and they do know who they are. So, Mark, why don't you read that one from Cynthia Jones?
Okay. It says it is very important to know how to communicate, to know how to lead the conversation, avoiding gaps, and being confident that you are in control of the conversation. And that's excellent, because if you do not know how to communicate, how are you going to connect with people? You got to be a connector in this business. And one of the best ways of doing it is knowing how to properly communicate. Because as I said before, and I'll say it again, you're going to, with the leads and things that you're using, you're going to get that one person who's a very professional person who's very interested in what you have. And if they see that you can't, converse in a certain way, you'll lose them. You'll lose them. And that might be that, remember, it only takes two of the right people to take your business to a whole new another level. But you have to be able to connect, and you have to be able to talk to them in the proper manner. So that's where the communication comes in. Back to you, Joe.
But let me read a thing she put in there: avoiding gaps, learning how to avoid gaps. I left that open. People can see that quote, that post there. Avoiding gaps. If you haven't been to the class, you don't even know what that means. And how important is that? Well, I can tell you it's as important as the other ingredients in that conversation: avoiding a gap. Being confident that you're in control of the conversation. Confident, there's the key word. You're not going to get confident without education, without learning what it is you have to do, and without experience. So one of the things you do, encourage your people to get to that class. How do you do it? Let me say it again. You send an email to the New Breakfast Club at earthlink.net. You put your name on the first line, your email on the second line, your phone number on the third line, and the fourth line is what it is you're requesting. That class is available every day now. So that's the first week. That's what you need to get accomplished that week. Role play. Get to the class. Role play with your new affiliate. Have them get that accomplished during the week. Help them learn who they are so they don't think they have to make a phone call to somebody and explain this whole company. Explain the process to them. So the first 90 days, you have a bunch of contacts. You learned how to do that in 90 days. You should be perfected at that point. 3 months from now, learn how to connect with people. You've been to an advanced and a director's class. You kept records on all your contacts, the number of people you sent information to, whether friends or family. The number of people that clicked through and clicked on the company overview. How many you sent, right? And how many actually clicked through. How many follow-up calls did you do in those 90 days? Of course, you're doing this, you're keeping this from the very beginning. But in 90 days, you should have a good gauge as to where you are. How many follow-up calls have you really done? How many people did you take to a director? What was your goal in those first 90 days? Once a month, you should have a brand new person. 1 per month. Minimum. If you do that, we've already done those numbers. Shows you what happens to you in the next year. And not waiting for a year. You'll have income after a few months. So you're going to have 3 new people in 90 days, but your team is going to build because they're going to do exactly the same thing. That's exactly what should happen in 90 days, and then you repeat the 90 days again. Now, of course, there's little intricate parts in between, Mark, as you know. The biggest mistake being made in all of these companies is not knowing what to do with your new person, how to bring them aboard, how to guide them. And you notice that we're not talking a whole lot about product here. That's the result of the activity. The income and getting the product. We all know that the way to make money in this industry is your affiliates make purchases, which accounts for your volume, and you find a few customers. That's why you send the email and constant communication to people that you know. That's what an autoresponder does. It keeps sending them a nice little letter on a regular basis to keep letting them know that you're in business. You can change that letter around if you like. Making those phone calls and get yourself a couple of customers while you're finding affiliate and they're finding affiliates, people who want to manage a business from home. As time moves on, your volume continues to increase. But it's not going to increase unless you can take that new person and change the stats about where they're going to be in 90 days. You don't give them the plan, their plan will be no plan. No plan at all. And they say that that's basically a plan to fail. That's what Jim Rohn says. Planning. Planning starts with your thinking. As Einstein says, and has always been true, education is not the learning of facts, it's the training of the mind to think. And Jim Rohn says you have to think about where you're going, and you have to plan it. And you can't even start your day till it's on paper. So it has to be written down. So each day, you should have a plan in front of you, the daily plan. In another book, you should have your 1 week, your 1 month, and your 3-month plan in place. What it is you're going to do each day. Part of that plan is the education of learning how to communicate. If I were to open up this line, if we were able to unlock your phone and randomly pick somebody out, whether they were brand new or their first time at the Breakfast Club, I suggest that you would probably get very nervous if I were to ask you questions on how you deal with your prospect. How do you talk to your new prospect after you've sent them some information? If I asked you specific questions that a prospect would ask, could you confidently have your mic open and talk to a crowd of people here and answer the questions effectively? I could pick out the people who could. But if you're brand new here, or you've never been to that class, or don't really understand any of that, could you do that? That's your real test. So I'll close with this. You need to partner up with someone where you are accountable for your activity. You need to have a partner to do that. That's why we partner people up when we get to the classes, because those people work together and they know if they have a meeting on Wednesday night, and that meeting and that role play session is going to take place, you can bet on it that because they're accountable to their teammates, they're going to study and learn and be prepared. If you're not accountable, if you don't have a partner where you are saying, I'm going to learn this by Wednesday, and I will show you when we get together, let's work together and kind of test each other and challenge each other, you're not going to get that done. You're going to tell yourself you're going to do it, and Thursday you'll do it, and everything else will get in the way. You honestly need to be accountable to someone. And as much as I hated that in the beginning, Mark, it's what actually sent my career to another level. I was accountable to my partner almost every day for my activities. We turned in reports on a daily basis on how many calls, how many people responded, how many people we had scheduled for our meetings every day, how many follow-ups there were. So the onboarding process is as critical as the first phone call you make. Most people quit this industry. They quit because, in my opinion, they don't know what to do, and they don't have an upline who knows what to do. One of the things Jim Rohn said, we're going to cover this on Friday, but one of the things that Jim Rohn said was to make sure that you are partnered up. Make sure before you make a choice to partner up or even join a company is that you have people around you, upline, downline, whatever, who know how to guide you and show you what to do. Ask yourself this question: where you're working now, do you have that? Does your upline know what to do here? Do they know how to teach you how to make a phone call and talk to a prospect? Do they know how to teach you to onboard someone properly? Do they know how to communicate with your friends? Or are they telling you, here, just play this message and you'll see it'll work? Is that what they're doing? I could spend an hour on that, telling you what people are telling you, just send it over and then bring them to me. I'll spend an hour with them and I'll convince them. That's really their mindset, because they have no clue how to get you onboarded properly. So with that, my friend, over to you, and I hope everybody has a great day.
Okay, got a question for everybody. Question is this: where do you see yourself in the next 90 days? If the next 90 days were like the last 90 days, do you see yourself getting ahead or behind? Sound familiar, Joe?
It sounds very familiar, my friend. Thank you. It's exactly what they needed to hear.
So let's get on board. Everybody remember, we're a team. Together, everyone achieves more. We're learning together. We're working together. We want to help each other out together. We have the AdTech Worldwide Education Room. That's what I call it. It's not a chat room. It's an education room. Get in there, help each other out. On Tuesday nights, everybody's invited. We're talking, we're working. We're trying to put everything there for you so that you can become successful. Now, I have a different definition than a lot of people. To me, a successful person is one who takes advantage of an opportunity. And the way you take advantage, you get on board and you do everything that's necessary. That's a successful person to me. Yours may be a little different, and that's okay. As they say, different strokes for different folks. But there's really only one way to do it, and that's the right way. And that's what we are working to accomplish for all of us. It's not an I, he, him, her, she. No, it's all of us. And that's why I say we're a family. Families that work together accomplish a lot. And that's what we want to continue to do. So, with that being said, peace and blessings to you. Let's go out and make it a great day. Share this with someone so they can, change their life, change their career, change the situation they're in. Let's change the individual, city, state, country, and most of all, let's change this world. We can be the change that we want to see in the world, but it has to be in us first. So if you want to see that change for the world, for your city, for your community, for your country, then we have to do it. And I'm telling you, I'm chomping at the bit. I got to go down this rabbit hole, because when I do, you will see where this presentation is so pertinent and is so important. And that's why we have to learn this business presentation and how to use it. So with that being said,
hey, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Hey, can we plug tomorrow?
Oh, yes, we need to do that.
By all means, Victor. Go ahead.
Okay, tomorrow, folks, we are going to be talking about a CRM, a customer relations management system called Streak, S-T-R-E-A-K. So I would ask everybody to just go out to streak.com and take a look at it and get an idea of what it really is and what it involves. They have some videos on there that you can watch, and they're very short, and it'll just give you a heads up on what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, because this will give you another tool to use for emailing out your message to both those friends and family and those that you don't know, but it's also going to give you a tool to use to answer the questions that Joe posed today when he was asking how you track things, or when he was talking about how you track things. The numbers are really telling. You need to be able to follow up on all your people. You need to know when you last emailed them. You need to know when you're going to email them again, and Streak will help you to do this. So join us tomorrow.
All right, Victor, I guess it would be a good idea for everybody to go out there and download the information, right?
Yes. Now, Streak works with Gmail, so you have to have a Gmail account, and for Streak to work with it. That it's just an addition. So here's really the introduction is, if you don't have Chrome as your browser, you will need to. You don't really need that. You can work with a Gmail account, and you can add Streak to it. If you have Chrome, it becomes an extension. I know that terminology is all explained in some of the training, but yeah, if you download it or have it available and integrated with your Gmail, that will be you'll have a head start.
All right. Okay, Joe, any last words for the closeout?
Just make sure, you bring a lot of people. Bring your I would make a big announcement. It's on the bottom of the announcement the last couple of days about tomorrow, but you know what? Get your people here to hear Victor explain this. The entire morning is going to be, covering this entire process. So Victor's going to take you through. He's very concise and precise, and he'll show you exactly how to do this. This will improve your business considerably. So get your people here tomorrow, okay? Send them the link. Tell them how to get to the Breakfast Club and get here, and we will be good to go. So I'm looking forward to this tomorrow. I'm looking forward to learning myself, Victor. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
Okay, everyone. Peace and blessings to you. Go out and make it a great day. This is Mark Stevens for our host, Joe Shoup. Say we will see you back here tomorrow morning with Victor's training on the Breakfast Club. Peace and blessings, everyone. Make it a great day.